Good evening, folks. This is Deb and Dave, and this is the Factivist Report. Look, here's what I'm going to tell you about tonight's show. It's basically telling you people this is no time to check out. Okay? This is no time to check out. This is a time to stay in your elected officials. It's a time for you to keep going because we have a giant criminal enterprise going on in our federal government. And Dave's going to outline some of that tonight. And it's going to require you reading when we're done, looking at the links in the video.
We are called the Factivist Report for a reason, and the Factivist Project for a reason. This will have some informed opinion by me in this. However, it is a documented fact. Trump is a grifter. Trump is a criminal. Trump has been indicted. Trump, he has been corrupt since the 1970s with his father, Fred Trump, when they pushed Mexican or Latino and African Americans away from white apartment buildings into more, ethnocentric, and they hid it and they bribed people to keep, the whole thing. It's documented. Okay, he has court case after court case after court case.
And let's remember, Woody Guthrie lived in one of Fred Trump's apartment buildings. And he knows, and he stated and wrote a song about the fact that Fred Trump was a racist. Okay? There's a song called Old Man Trump. And that was about his experience living in one of Fred's tenements.
Unless you are a billionaire, unless you're a Saudi heir or prince, or unless you have a ton of money or a ton of influence, Trump doesn't care about you. One of the biggest issues is that people are, I guess, checking out. The work ethic isn't where it used to be. My opinion is this whole attitude about the Democrats being too old. It's a criticism of their pushing work ethic. Okay? From Trump talking about draining the swamp, now all of a sudden, after telling you that he's going to lower prices and all of that, now he's saying, first off, it's more difficult than he said, and then he's telling people, maybe it's time to tighten your belt, while making these ridiculous deals and taking ridiculous bribes. Let's just call it. By the way, the emoluments clause was put in by the founders to prevent this kind of thing. However, it's happened before, and Trump had a blueprint. People have forgotten about it. Andrew Jackson, very, very corrupt, by the way, racist. Also slaughtered Native Americans like there was no tomorrow. I'm sure Trump liked that. And also catered to people's greed. It ushered in the just the rampant corruption, Boss Tweed, organized crime, all of that. Trump is using that platform, that model, to a T. And this is what's going on. Okay? I don't think, this is an opinion here, I don't think that martial law will happen. That's not what he's looking to do. What he's looking to do is financially rape the country and create this global network of corruption,
And
like we've never seen before.
Say, why are they allowing him to get away with it? Well, who's going to stop him? He said he was going to outfit himself and his administration with people who would be loyal to him. They're allowing him to illegally deport innocent people. They're allowing him to do a lot of stuff. So Who's going to prosecute Donald Trump? Pam Bondi? Is Pam Bondi's DOJ really going to prosecute Donald Trump under the emoluments clause? Of course she's not.
Right.
Come on, people. But that doesn't
So
mean that we sit back and don't let our voices be heard.
this is a story by Time Magazine. This is what started me on the whole thing. All right. So this is from May of last year. How Donald Trump's plans could bring back the spoils system. The spoils system was Andrew Jackson. Okay. Andrew Jackson did the exact same thing that Donald Trump was doing, creating pipelines of corruption, finding corrupt politicians, which I will talk about, even from the other side, like Eric Adams. It's almost parallel because the corruption in the 1900s, or the 19th century rather, that grew in New York City, Boston, Philly, the major cities. What Andrew Jackson did was, tell me if this is familiar. He surrounded himself by incompetent sycophants that would do everything that he asked them to do. People who didn't know the job but were put in there. All right. Like, and I have it in here, it is unprecedented. The number of Fox News personalities that are in Donald Trump's cabinet that have no business being in Donald Trump's cabinet.
Starting with the Secretary of Defense.
Pete Hegseth, Don Bongino. Okay. Just saying. Now, this is the emoluments clause. Okay, it serves as a safeguard designed to bar federal office holders from receiving gifts, offices, titles, or emoluments from foreign states without congressional consent. Embedded within the legal framework are two distinct provisions: the foreign clause and the domestic clause. The domestic clause basically says the same thing, but it's separate. Most of what I'm going to be talking about is the foreign emoluments clause. Now, there is one that people may not even know about. Intuit Tax, that's Intuit Company. They donated a large amount of money to Donald Trump's campaign. Donald Trump, in turn, is pushing legislation to, or I don't know if he put in an executive order, but he's pushing this directive to just disband a program designed to allow people, qualified people, to file directly with the IRS for free. He's getting rid of that.
Right.
Partly.
So it can be for profit from everybody.
Right.
Okay.
So that's the domestic part, but the foreign part, it's off the chain. It's not just about the plane. The bigger one is the crypto market. Okay. Foreign entities giving him gobs of money to invest in crypto. His own meme coin, which is basically, remember those digital trading cards with him looking, like Thor or whatever? It's a digital coin, or a digital baseball card, basically.
And understand something, okay? The people who buy this coin for oodles of money, he's, I believe, how much has he made? 9 billion so far on this?
Something like that, yeah.
Okay. So understand something. If the person who buys this thing goes to sell it the next day, it's totally worthless.
Right.
What it does, however, is give them access to him. All right. And he's doing all of this with the presidential seal right on the podium at the dinners, right?
Yes.
Gives them access to the United States government so they get special consideration for the stuff that they want to do. That's what this is all about. Nobody's going to make any money off selling the shit that they're buying from him. It's the favors that they get as a result of investing that money.
Correct. It's a bribe. It's a bribe.
Basically, legalized bribery. It's insane. It's not even
And
legal, but
and Trump is combining it with the carrot and stick. Okay, the CBS, which by the way I forgot to put it in here. They're saying that if CBS drops a suit, that might not be even be illegal. We have his pressuring law officers, all of that. Donald Trump is blatant about this now. He's basically saying it was stupid of him not to cash in harder on his first term in the presidency. He's basically saying it was stupid of him not to violate the emoluments clause, not to take foreign bribes.
you want to know why he's doing it blatantly now? Because there's nobody in his cabinet or anywhere in his government to stop him. They are
And
not going to stop him. Not the
and not
GOP in the
yeah.
legislature, not the DOJ, not anybody. So understand this.
And by the way, in order for this to stop, people have to understand what is going on here. This is a criminal enterprise, and you are not part of it unless you are part of it. I understand that people are tired. I hear it all the time as a union representative, as a labor rep. Okay, and people want to get in on the quick buck.
You're not getting in on his quick buck.
No, you're not.
Nobody's getting anything from him. He's cutting everybody's, you and me, he's cutting everybody's Medicare. He's cutting everything that we have put in that helps the American people so he can give these billionaire buddies a tax break. Understand this. I mean, this isn't rocket science, people. It's right in your face.
Now there's stuff going on right now, like shakedown of oil executives, but the tariffs.
We're back to that again. He paused them for 90 days. I told you it would never be 90 days. I told you that. Now it's
Remember,
June.
he went on Truth Social right before. It's basically insider trading. Right before and said, this is a great time to invest. And then bam, tariffs, the tariff changes and tariff moves. He's telling you when to invest. He's admitting it. But this has been going on even before the 80s. This is one, about when in the 1980s and the 1990s. Falsifying business records. By the way, everybody discounts the bribery scandal at this point, or the felony convictions for hiding hush money. It lends to him. He's a scam artist. He's a grifter. He's he is corrupt. He's been bribing people to cover up his crimes for 5 decades.
Nobody went after Donald Trump. Letitia James did not go after Donald Trump on a whim. It's against the New York law to do that. It was her duty to go after him and prosecute him. That's her job.
So there's several. There was one by Vox, but it had an ad wall on it. You can look for it. It's up there. But Washington Post has a really good one. And ironically, when was this written? So this was August 24th, 2023. This is by I don't know if this person is even still with them. By Adrian Blanco Ramos. So the ironic thing is, Bezos has bowed to Trump, from blackmail and possibly bribery. So this kind of stuff from the Washington Post isn't out there anymore. But 50 years of investigations on Donald Trump and, going back in the 70s, his father. Well, as I said, when they were trying to
Good God.
hide some of his discriminatory actions through bribes. And it's 50 years of bribery and paying people off and all that stuff. So, ties to mob figures to get him a casino license, the whole thing. All right.
I mean, remember he was going to make Atlantic City great again? Remember that?
Yep.
He destroyed Atlantic City. He destroyed businesses. People lost everything that followed him down there.
Now, we know that presidents have had scandals before, Democrats and Republicans, but Trump is above and beyond anyone, including Richard Nixon.
He makes Richard Nixon look like, I don't know,
A freaking nun like
a,
Gandhi.
a bumbling
Jesus.
idiot
Right.
compared to this guy. And Richard Nixon, I thought I hated Richard Nixon, but nothing like the way I hate Donald Trump.
So this is something that I just stumbled on, and I just want to make people aware. I just smell graft everywhere on this.
Just the
It's
missile
called,
system.
yes, it's a
Yeah.
missile system. Okay, the Golden Dome. You think there's not going to be pork in that thing? Of course there is.
Give me a break.
Yeah. This lends to what I was talking about with the whole corruption, the whole model of corruption from Andrew Jackson. This is one of the first things you do. You hire a bunch of sycophants that don't know what the hell they're doing. And another thing is you find people, some of them on the other side, and I will talk about some of them, and you make them your allies. All of the ones there
Because you've got something on them, usually.
because you have something on them. Yes. Okay. And on top of that, you make them seem like victims or, of their own party or whatever. Okay. So, couple things here. This is stuff that I didn't even know about. Okay. Um, Donald Trump and Melania making deals, taking in money ever since Trump won. Okay. And this is the second term, I believe. Hold on. So, yeah, this is recent. This is the second term. $40 million to license Melania's documentary about returning to the White House as First Lady. $10 million settlement with Elon Musk's ex. Doesn't include the millions the president and First Lady have each netted from the meme coin cryptocurrency ventures, and we will be talking about some of that. So, Melania's upcoming Amazon documentary might be one of the most obviously corrupt. The First Lady, Jeff Bezos and his fiancee Lauren Sanchez all had dinner at Mar-a-Lago in December, where Melania told Bezos about her movie. Then, right 2 weeks after, Amazon agreed to shell out $40 million. Okay, this is domestic. This is domestic payment and bribery and stuff. GOP moves to kill direct file following Intuit's lobbying. Now, reason I'm bringing this up, I'm trying to remember. Yeah. $3.72 million in lobbying last year from this company.
This shit's got to go away.
Okay. Remember how we were talking about how corrupt the Democrats are? And I have some of them in here. this shadows it all. Everybody was talking about the plane, which is a blatant violation, by the way, no matter what he says. Oh, it's a gift to the Pentagon. No, it's not.
Because it will go with him when he leaves.
Now, Trump is accused of new grift. That's the cryptocurrency stuff. So, hold on.
By the way, I don't know if you have it with regards to the plane. There's a story out there now that it wasn't such a gift. There's a story out there now that he actually went looking for that plane.
I haven't seen that.
And
No.
asked for it.
Okay. Now, Chris Murphy brings this up.
Yeah, this was good. I saw the video actually.
$2 billion in crypto investment in Trump's stablecoin by an Emirati firm. Okay. Come on. That's from the United Arab Emirates, by the way. So, before I get into it, people are like, well, why isn't Trump in jail? You know why? Because he's selling people. Oh, guys, you don't have to do anything. I'll take care of everything for you. You know that crazy black lady that said hard work is good work? You don't want to work, do you?
No, the American people are ripe for that kind of stuff. I'll take care of everything. Don't worry about anything. Don't do anything. Just sit back and take a ride with Donnie. This is exactly what the American people love to hear. It's effortless. Don't put yourself out, folks. I work with a
No.
whole bunch of these people every fucking day. Every day.
Once you make your money, I guess you can admit, hey, Trump's corrupt.
These are, by the way, let me just tell you this. These are hourly employees. They are not making bank. All right.
Tucker Carlson admits it. Trump reeks of corruption. Well, Tucker's already made his money.
Yeah.
Same thing with Joe Rogan, by the way.
Too. They
Yeah.
both smell. So far.
So this is 2021. This is his first term. Okay. Impeached twice, once for Ukraine. That was basically, well, a bribery / blackmail scandal. And for the Capitol riots, using his position for personal gain, profiting from foreign government payments. Russian scandal claimed foreign interference in the 2016 election. Okay. This has been going on for decades, but you think he's going to change?
No, he's worse
No.
now because he's got a whole cabinet full of people that'll protect him.
All of this is about the deal making. Now, anytime you hear a Democrat talking about crypto, just be wary. Be wary. This is from the Associated Press, and I don't like these kind of titles, but I get it. Trump hosts top crypto investors as some industry leaders fear he's putting personal profits first.
That's bullshit. We know that's what he's doing.
We know that's what he's doing.
It's called the softballing by the media.
Right. There we go. Raw story. Transparent bribery. All right.
I can't even stand looking at this guy's fucking face.
I know. Now, it's about the Qatari plane and it's also about the cryptocurrency. Now, one thing that I will say is that when you're doing a test like this, say, hey, if Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, or
Barack
Obama did this, what would happen? Would they have been kicked out of office? Yes. Yes, they would have. Okay. Crypto. Oh, yeah, Mike Johnson. He was asked about the crypto scheme. He's too busy to care about it. He's
Yeah,
got
he's
too
too
much on his
busy.
plate.
He's too busy with his slash and burn GOP bills to worry about what old Donald's doing. He's too busy working for the master. He's too busy
Okay,
being a good
so
Christian.
look, Democrats are bringing this up. I understand that historically there have been some Democrats who have been indicted and arrested and been thrown in jail.
But
Some
that's the
of them,
point, isn't it?
yeah,
The Democrats don't cover for those people. They didn't cover for Menendez.
right. Now, what does Trump do? Some of them need pardons. I don't know about Menendez. I think Menendez is actually kind of lobbying for a pardon, to be honest with you. But he did pardon one of the people on this one of the Democrats on this list. So one of the things when we're fighting for the working class, okay, one of the things that uh, Trump has done, Musk has done, Doge has done. By the way, besides trying to buy a Supreme Court election in Wisconsin that flopped, pushing pushing a Social Security fraud message that a lot of these guys are getting Social Security payments that shouldn't get them. Currently not receiving payments. Social Security website glitch sparks panic, and the recipients are left in the dark as Doge cuts hits the administration hard, and also they claim Social Security fraud. So, this is supposed to be back there. This is someone that Deb mentioned, Justin's son, $100,000 in a Trump branded watch at the President Meme Coin dinner.
By the way, this
He's a
guy,
criminal.
before Trump was elected, this guy wouldn't come to the US for fear of being arrested. Okay, he's a criminal. Understand that. But he doesn't have to worry about that anymore because he's like one of the number one, or if he's not the top investor in his meme coin, I believe he is actually.
Yeah. And don't worry, he's not going to be deported. They brought him in.
Don't worry about that. He's got money.
Internal document exposes the Trump hunt for Social Security fraud as a sham. Because people have migrated to this idea of the quick buck over the years. Okay, people have this idea that everybody's looking for the quick buck, for the shortcuts. Not everybody, but yeah.
Let me just tell you something. I used to hear this. I was homeless for 3 years.
Yes.
And I used to hear that people who are homeless are just making bucks off the government. The money that you get when you are homeless is so minuscule, it barely covers your ability to feed your family. Nobody's making bucks off the government. I collect Social Security every month. It does not even cover my fucking rent. Do we understand each other here? Nobody's making millions of dollars off Social Security. That is a lie. Okay? What they wanted was your personal information. That's what they wanted.
My apologies. I'll clarify. Well, they say Social Security, also Medicaid. They're claiming 8 million people fraudulently are on Medicaid. It's not true.
It's not true. They won't show the evidence. Look he was invited to come into the congressional oversight meeting and bring the evidence that he had, and the GOP blocked his appearance. Why do you think they did that? Because they don't have any proof.
Now,
and anybody believe in RFK Jr.? I'm sorry.
Everybody, we're talking about this stuff. Everybody needs to start thinking in transactional thinking. I found a great article, or opinion piece, basically, that says that that's not the point and that's not the case. having contracts and making deals, that's fine. Trump isn't transactional. He's anti-transactional because he backs out of every single deal he's ever made. Just ask Gretchen Whitmer.
Right.
This is actually pretty good. Okay, so now we're going to get into, well, Dave, what about Democrats? The Democrats are the same. They're not. Now, there are some Democrats who have been embroiled in corruption scandals over the years. Guess what? They're migrating to Trump now because they see opportunity. They see opportunity to paint themselves in a better light. Now that Trump, the biggest grifter on the political grifter on the planet, is in power,
And they can have
they're
them.
looking for,
He can
yeah.
have them.
Now, I don't know if he's a Republican officially. Remember Blagojevich? Blagojevich, oh, he's a hero. He's my hero. He pardoned the guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Trump pardoned Blagojevich. Financial scandal. Okay. By the way, if you never caught it, and I'm sure Deb hasn't caught it, Rod Blagojevich was a contestant on Celebrity Apprentice. All right. So Blagojevich is one of them. Remember Go Bob? Okay. Receives an 11-year prison sentence for bribery conviction. And now Bob Menendez is kind of sucking up to Trump, thinking maybe I'll get a pardon. Maybe I can make a deal. Maybe I can actually be part of his cabinet or something. I don't know. Or be part of the Republican Party. Texas Congressman Henry Cuellar indicted on charges of bribery and money laundering. Now, Henry Cuellar, he recently voted against Trump's budget. Okay. But he's voting for things like the Laken Riley Act and pushing Trump's immigration agenda in Texas as a Hispanic man and representative. And he's betraying his constituents, maybe for a quid pro quo. I don't know. Because remember, and we'll get to him in a second, Eric Adams, his charges were dropped. I believe Trump gave him a commutation. I don't know if it's a pardon, but I believe it was a commutation. Here we go. That was the Bob Menendez invokes Trump in casting sentencing as political prosecution and saying that Trump's being, politically prosecuted. So again, as Cuellar voted against the Budget Act, he also did the thing. Now, Cuomo's running for mayor of New York City. Trump is now investigating Cuomo. Now, maybe Cuomo is dirty. But at the same time, Trump is doing that.
But you know what? He's also already smelly.
Right. But Trump dropped the corruption charge, moving to drop corruption charges against Eric Adams, who, by the way, guess what he's invested in? Crypto. Okay.
And guess what else? Isn't he also supporting his deportation policies?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, there you
That's
go.
the other thing. John Fetterman, and I know Deb just did a piece on this. John Fetterman, we supported this man.
We did.
We asked people to vote for him.
We did.
Against Mehmet Oz. Here's what I hear from people all the time. Dave, I'm tired. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be at work. I don't want to do this. It's too hard. I can't do this, but I want to get paid. John Fetterman is saying, listen, I believe he didn't make what, 18.3% of his votes,
Yep.
something like that. So that's between like 6 and 8 weeks. Like if I would take 6 weeks off of work in a year. By the way, that would get me in a lot of trouble unless I had medical documentation. You wouldn't have a job. Okay. But this man, he would rather spend time with his family.
He'd rather be in a room full of love. That's what he said.
Right.
Well, you know what? Then don't get into politics, John, because it has never been a room full of love. It's always been a room full of criticism, and you're subject to that as an elected official. And
so I see this kind of thing all the time. Guys who at my job or people on the street, they voted for Trump because they're tired of the pro work ethic message. Okay. They're tired. They're being beaten down by their boss, blah blah blah. Trump will do everything.
yeah,
Don't worry about it. I'll take care of you. By the way, that's what crime bosses say.
it is.
And he's a crime boss. Okay. So this is when Trump first got elected. John Fetterman. Oh, don't call him a fascist. We can't root for him to fail because if we root for him to fail, that's anti-American.
Right. But I'd like to remind everybody that when John Fetterman had his stroke and when he was down and out, the man that John Fetterman described as cordial and kind was the first person out on the road going after John Fetterman for his problems. He wasn't cordial and kind then. He wasn't cordial and kind when Fetterman went to Mar-a-Lago. And Donald Trump has never been cordial and kind a day in his life unless it benefited him. So let's get real here.
All of a sudden, the feud went away. That's a red flag to me. Now, John Fetterman said that most of the votes that he missed were procedural votes. Well, if you listen to us all the time, that's part of the job.
Part of your job. He also complained that he was tired of being called on last to be questioned because of seniority. That's also part of the job. Live with it. Everybody else lives with it. It's part of the job. We're not going to change the entire system so that John Fetterman can smile. Okay?
So, okay. The New Republic, actually, this might have been the impetus for this whole thing. Trump's corruption is a huge problem, but it's a hard sell to voters. You know why?
Okay.
Because the voters think they're in on this. The voters think they're going to get something out of it. The voters think they're going to get. And by the way, I'm planning on doing a thing on the budget. Anything that Trump says about the budget, anything that Trump says about the economy, take it with a grain of salt.
Take it with a grain of salt.
How are your food prices right now?
Yeah, just listen to me. Nowhere in this bill that they are trying to push now is Medicare mentioned as a cut. Nowhere. But however, if this bill passes, it will trigger the biggest cut to Medicare in history based on the pay-as-you-go clause. If he explodes the deficit, everything gets cut across the board, and that will result in a $500 million cut to Medicare at the end of this year. People need to get a clue about how this stuff works.
Actually, it's more insidious. It's supposed to hit after the midterms, like around 2027, 2028. Most of the cuts will happen then when they predict the Democrats are going to be in power. Right. I'm going to talk more about that, but they're timing it to make it look like it's the Democrats' fault.
People need to
understand
all of this. If you aren't looking for this stuff, you know what? Nobody can feed you this information. I see posts on social media all the time about, let me just, before you go on, like the budget vote that happened in the House,
Right.
posts out there that nobody will stop this in the Senate. It's a done deal. No, it isn't.
Oh, no.
It isn't a done deal. The Republicans are going to rewrite that bill. And then if that passes, it's going to have to go back to the House.
Right.
Americans need to look beyond social media for their information.
And at the end, I'm gonna say a little bit about that. I've been pushing for civics education for a while now because people need to understand once we get through whatever pain we're going to get through. And by the way, the Boss Tweed era and all of that was spurred on by Andrew Jackson. Guess how long that lasted? That lasted for 8 decades. Okay, so we're not that patient. Let's take care of this now before he gets that bad. It might take decades anyway. Now, we always say that the voters are the last line of defense. There was a fantastic article in the Advocate, or again, it's an opinion piece. Okay, we elect presidents who reflect who we are. And in Trump, America proves to be inherently selfish.
Amazing. It's actually quite true. It is amazingly true.
Now, this is from the Advocate, and yes, of course, this is by John Casey. This is right after he won, okay? And he does mention LGBTQ rights and the demonizing of transgenders. And what he says is people don't care because it's NIMBY, not in my backyard.
No problem. So you don't give a damn. But someday, you know what? You will have a problem and you will expect people to stand up for you, I assume.
Right. People keep talking about, and I'm not going there, but I do want to bring up this point again. People keep talking about Biden's age and there was no primary and blah, 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 blah. This is my primary opinion in this whole thing. I truly believe that Kamala's pro-work ethic message didn't register because people are into quick fixes, the quick buck, the side hustle, all of that, work smarter, not harder. By the way, that's about work safety. It's not about sit on your butt all day and make a ton of money.
I'll tell you honestly, you know what? The people I work with, they work just hard enough to pay their bills and then to have money left over to go to the dispensary or to the liquor store. That's what I see all day long in my job. They work hard enough. We have one kid that worked there, makes $16 an hour. He had a job opportunity that paid him $28 an hour. He turned it down in another company because it was too much work. What the fuck? Okay? I mean, seriously.
Before we talk about how Gen Z or Generation Alpha or whatever is going to save us, we need to get a reality check. There is an infection in our culture right now. This self-interest, NIMBY culture, quick buck culture. Now, I like the overall idea of it. I don't like the wording. Is the age of supposed anti-ambition. It's not anti-ambition. People have a ton of ambition. They just don't want to do the work.
Right.
Okay. The pro-work message didn't resonate because Trump said he was going to take care of everything for you. Don't worry about it. You don't have to work. And he wasn't doing anything. That's another thing. He was just dancing on the podium. He wasn't saying anything. He wasn't doing anything.
No, this is what he was doing.
And people liked him.
Dancing. He drives me insane. I can't even stand looking at him. It's amazing.
Now, Dave, well, all this is horrible. What do you suggest we do? Well, here's one thing. lobby, fight, call, whatever. Protect your brothers and sisters, whether it be veterans, whether it be immigrants, whether it be LGBTQ, whether it be, because we need those votes. And stop finger pointing and say, you lost the election. No, you lost the election. No, you lost the election. The whole, the, uh, whatever, with the, Palestinian movement, the whatever, abandoned Harris movement or whatever it was
Deny
called. I can't remember.
Harris, the whatever. You
Yeah.
know what? We are all in this together. Okay? We will rise and fall together. Okay? And Americans need to understand that civic duty isn't just showing up and voting. In fact, the American people don't even bother to exercise their right to vote half the time. 90 million people did not vote in 2024. 90 million people. Imagine if even half of those people showed up, this could have been very different. Think
So
about that.
here's just a few of those.
For the United States to be 31st in the world in voter turnout should be a goddamn embarrassment. And that is not the politicians doing that. That is we doing that. We, the people.
So here are a few of the groups, and I'm not saying we're going to convert anybody. By the way, don't try to do that. If they're gonna change, they're gonna change on their own. All right. Republican veterans leaving the GOP because of Trump policy. He's battering the veterans right now. He was looking to, dismantle the VA, for God's sake.
He got their vote already. He doesn't give a shit about them. And let me just say something else. The Democrats that are doing town halls in red districts, they're doing that. They're trying to get those people back. Let them do it and encourage them to do it. John Fetterman could be doing that. He's in a freaking swing state.
Right.
Okay? He doesn't want to do town halls because he's afraid of being criticized. That was another complaint. That's part of the ball game.
Migrants are working now because of necessity. They have to feed their families, despite the fear that they're going to be pulled out of their job and thrown in wherever, and El Salvador in prison or whatever. And by the way, we have to support migrants because this type of action shows that these people they have a work ethic.
But they also contribute to our tax base.
Exactly.
We don't have these people in this country. We don't have those taxes going into Social Security, to Medicare, to Medicaid, that they aren't even allowed to get. They are not getting those services. But we are getting them on their backs.
Things I just showed you.
And then let me clear up one more thing.
Yeah,
people say, well, how are they paying taxes if they're undocumented? Because the IRS's job is not to ferret out undocumented immigrants. It's to collect taxes.
Right.
And Donald Trump will eventually use the IRS to ferret out undocumented citizens. So
they're using the Postal Service.
Yeah, I mean, he's using the Postal Service to do it now. He is going to cut a deal with the IRS. You know this. If you don't, then you're some kind of naive individual. I don't want to say stupid, even though it was on the tip of my tongue. But Donald Trump will eventually find a way to use the IRS to get these people. They are paying taxes for stuff that they don't even get.
So, let's see here. It's a couple things, follow Sludge. They're good. The Anti-Corruption and Governance Center, these guys are the ones that do the World Economic Forum. I don't agree with all of this, but the CIPE, the Center for whatever it is, what's it called? Crap. It's an anti-corruption group. the CIPE, Center for whatever. Why doesn't it have it on here? But whatever. The Anti-Corruption and Governance Center, basically. One of the things they say is, don't call people complicit. Well, whether you know it or not,
You are.
yeah. So all I'm saying is recognize some of this. Center for International Private Enterprise.
Yep.
Okay, but they're the ones that sponsor the World Economic Forum. Sludge is great. There's another
They're pro-democracy, CIPE.
right. So this is from the DOJ, by the way. The just the bribery charges and all that.
This was the
Also,
old DOJ.
right. Yep, that was before Trump. So this is the Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics in Washington.
They do good stuff.
Yeah, and they have something coming up next month, I think, and it's in here. Also, familiarize yourself with the laws of this country and how things are supposed to work and how things are supposed to run, and red flags for fascism and blah, blah, blah. As we all know, if you're watching this, you probably know that Trump has been attacking Harvard. Well, what did Harvard do in response? Okay. They are offering free audit courses on civics.
And it's great. It really is.
Okay. Final one. Okay. Again, Trump's halt of a U.S. law banning business bribes.
I mean, Jesus H. Christ. How much more apparent do you need to make this?
Wait, this is what I want to end on because this is incredible. Okay. He he basically says that these laws are preventing him from competing because, hey, all the other competitive countries are corrupt, so why can't I do it?
What a great guy he is, huh?
Now,
Spreading the love.
this, in some ways, is going to be a hard sell because people, as I said, they're looking to do the least and get the most out of it. Okay. And again, some of this is why I'm not an influencer. We don't really take, super chat money or any of that kind of stuff. That's not what we're here for.
I'm not interested in that stuff. That's bullshit.
Right.
Give us some money and we'll tell you the truth. Give us some money and we'll give you some real information. But until then, it's just going to be filler. That kind of stuff just doesn't. That's not serving the public.
And by the way, you want some information? Maybe go to, I don't know, ProPublica or the Daily Beast or maybe your library.
If it's still open.
If it's still open.
We're shutting ours down and stone them because we're run by a bunch of dumbass white Republicans.
So just remember, I understand where we are right now and that a lot of this stuff, you're going to be fatigued. It's flooding the zone again. I get all of that, but we have to continue to show our displeasure, continue to show these guys that we know what their game is. And no, Trump is lying to you. He is grifting you when he says no taxes on tips, no taxes on Social Security. He's going to keep the prices down. The tariffs are for your own good. I mean, sounds like a bad ex-boyfriend, abusive ex-boyfriend. It really does.
It is.
Okay, so we're gonna get into the budget. I wanted to wait because, as we know, the Senate probably will not pass the House budget as it stands.
It's already, they already said they're rewriting, they're prepared for a big, beautiful rewrite. That's what they basically said.
Now, will that big, beautiful rewrite really help us in the long run? No,
No, no,
but it does bide us some time.
that's right. And here's what that means. We have a chance to stop it in the Senate, and then it goes back to the House, and we have a chance to stop it in the House. So the longer this takes, the better off we are. Okay. We need to understand that. All right. But in the meantime, they are off on a break until Tuesday, like we are for Memorial Day weekend. The message here is get on your phones Tuesday morning and start calling your senators, Republican and Democrat, and making sure that they know that you are watching them.
And I will go one farther. June 14th, there's another protest, nationwide protest.
Yep, you need to be
Okay.
out there.
You need to be out there, and you also need to continue to message your House reps as well as the Senate reps, because as we know, this budget is coming back. My House rep is a Republican Trump sycophant. His name is Andrew Garbarino. Now, he has issues with Trump and the SALT stuff, which we'll get into, in coming weeks. But he didn't vote on the budget. Basically, he's saying, I don't agree with him, but I don't want to piss him off either. Okay, so we're
Why?
playing that game.
Because they're cowards, right? Because they need to grow a
Oh,
spine.
a spine. Yeah, I love that card. And again, one more thing, and Deb and I will talk about it, about adding the information to either our websites or to our Facebook groups or all of that. More education on how the system works
Yep.
or should work. Okay.
These,
What you,
this postcard series,
yeah.
they will be on the website. Okay. They're
And
going,
they are physical as well as digital.
right.
So, and Deb, you want to talk about the plan or, what they
So
can do?
the plan is right now, I have a group of older women, some of them older than me, who are lined up and filling out these cards. There's a message on the front. There's a place where you can put a personalized message on the back. And we are writing these out. I wrote already 100 this morning. They're going to every member of the GOP Senate. They're going to every member of the GOP House. And we're offering people the opportunity to send us the names of local and state politicians that you would also like to get this. It's also going to go to every Republican governor. And our goal here is to not spend time running back and forth to the post office to mail 10 here and 10 there, because A, that gets too costly for us and it's too much work for me. All right. But if you send us the names and addresses to factivist.project@gmail.com, we will make sure that we mail those out to those people for you. All right.
Please tell me, those of you who are on Long Island, tell me that there are not Democrats that we have to give these to.
Yeah, some
For
Democrats
one reason or another.
Some Democrats will be receiving these as well. But
Okay.
we are making sure that every single mail,
Every Republican.
every Republican gets these, every one. Because honestly, we could stop Trump right now. All we would need is 4 or 5 Republicans to cross the aisle and stop this nonsense. and they have no spine. They have
And
no
by the
spine.
way, we can expand this to uh, to those law firms, lawyers in the law firms.
Yep,
Okay, we can expand it to the press.
yep,
As far as you want to go with this,
we can.
okay,
And we will. We will get to them. But our goal right now is to have these
legislators.
in the mail to legislators by the first week of June, because we have another one in the works that will be ordered this week, this coming week, at the printer, and it will be coming in, and we will start that all over again. Because the one thing that J.B. Pritzker said is that they must not know one moment of peace, and that we are taking seriously. They are not going to be given one moment of peace. We're not
And
asking you for any money. We're
right.
asking you to participate. That's all we're asking.
And participate, live in the moment. Let's, she mentioned J.B. Pritzker. Okay, maybe he will run for president, but can we get through this nightmare first?
We
Can we
need to win
push
the
back?
midterms.
We
Forget
need to win the
2028.
midterms.
If we don't win the midterms, there
It's
is no
over.
2028. I'm going to tell you that. Am I right?
Okay, I mean, listen, we warned people. We warned people about what would happen if Trump won. Every single thing that we were worried about
It's
has pretty
happening.
much come to light. Other than and by the way, before we go, I don't believe that Trump is going to initiate martial law unless he absolutely has to. I really
So,
don't.
so as long
This
as
is
we are
this
not
is about
violent,
grift.
there is no reason to do that. Okay? As long as we are peaceful, everything that is stressed by the 50501 movement and indivisible is that we are peaceful and law abiding. That's what we need to do. All right? People were predicting on April 20th he was going to invoke martial law, that he was going to invoke martial law in June 1st. He's not. He wants to grift the system. Okay? That's what he wants. We're still headed for 11.5 million people on the streets. Let's make it happen on June 14th. It's the big military parade, it's his birthday, and it's Flag Day. We need to be out there everywhere where he isn't. And there will be people in Washington, D.C., by the way.
Right. And to all of those who, who are in unions, whether it be teachers unions, whatever, that are thinking martial law, think of it this way. Think of your bosses that don't want to go through extra work. Do you really think that Donald Trump wants to deal with a war? He really doesn't. He wants to golf.
That's right.
Okay. He wants to golf and grift.
Right.
That's maybe that's even the title of this, golfing and grifting.
Golfing
I
and
mean,
grifting with Donnie. That's exactly
I
what it is.
mean, okay, and you get your little meme coin and your little goodie bag like they do at the Oscars or whatever. I mean, it's just it's too much. It's too much.
Instead
Uh,
of the red carpet, it's the green carpet.
right. Or the
The gold
golden
toilet.
carpet. Yeah, the gold toilet or whatever. Yeah, the golden bidet or whatever. The golden shower. There we go. The golden shower. It's all crap. All of it. He's a liar. He's a grifter. I will say it again. The evidence is overwhelming. Now, are we going to push for impeachment? I'll push for impeachment any day of the week when we have the votes. But if that's what you want, okay. And a lot of the people who actually voted for him are now talking to me and saying, oh, you know what? You were right. Okay. Well, then what are you going to do next time? Well, I don't want to vote for Kathy Hochul. I don't want to vote for this one. I don't want to vote for that one.
Then shut the fuck up. Okay?
And by the way, Hochul, she's not perfect, but she's a damn well better than Lee Zeldin. Look
Well,
at what's going on with
honestly,
Lee
to be
Zeldin right
honest with
now.
you, a fucking possum would be better than Lee Zeldin. Okay?
Who ripped him a new one? I can't remember. Sheldon Whitehouse, right?
From the White House.
Yeah, it's like
He wasn't the only one though. I mean, I believe
Chris
it was
Murphy. Chris
Warren
Murphy
too.
did it. Yeah, Warren. But these people are sycophants. Okay, I've known of Lee Zeldin. I never met the man, but I've met people who've met him. He's useless. He's for that. You have a lot of people in office right now, and there are always opportunists in office. But when you see these guys, find someone better and put them in.
Yeah. I mean, it's clear.
Okay, so there's this whole thing about we have to get new blood, new blood, new blood. All the things about the we got to get the age out of the Democrats. You know what that means? They're criticizing Biden, Harris, all those people. Some of that,
60 years old. Okay.
right, right.
Get over that.
Some of this is about the reputation of the corporate Democrats, blah blah blah. First off, the Republicans much worse than that. But my theory is that they are hitting you with they're holier than thou. They're sanctimonious. They're telling you have to work hard. They're hitting the work ethic thing.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Maybe you want to look back at what your father did. My father worked hard. My mother worked hard because she had to work hard after my father died at 52 years old. Okay? I've been working since I was 16 years old. I'm 71. I'm still working. Okay? That's
Talk to the
life.
people.
That's life in the
Right.
big city, kids.
Talk to the people who just lost their government jobs who would kill for a job right now
Talk
because
about
they're
the
trying to
people, what
feed their
about the
families.
people in the national parks that have lost their jobs? All those people. What about and what about your ability to visit national parks now? How is that going to be affected come the summer when that's the only vacation some people can afford? Some people can't afford to go to Haiti or to freaking Aruba or go hang around in Mexico.
And even
Okay?
if they could afford it, hey, air traffic controllers, they've been fired. You really want to fly right now?
Nope.
I forget the whole real ID stuff. Yeah, I mean, even if I get a real ID or a passport,
I'm
I'd be
not getting
afraid
on a
that the
plane to
freaking
leave
things are
my
going to
office.
crash in the sky.
I'm not getting on a plane. That's not.
Firing cancer researchers. Okay, let's get real here.
Yep.
All right, let's roll it back. I'm not, and I tell this to my guys all the time. I'm not telling people to bust it out, kill themselves, put themselves in harm's way, work unsafely. I'm not saying that, but there is credibility and there is um, currency in work ethic and
Yeah.
working hard. And there is. And when people start hurting and they can't feed their families and they're in economic pain or they have a kid and their job's in jeopardy, that's when they start to realize,
And let me
oh
just
my
say
God.
something. Here's what we hear all the time. Well, in other countries, their healthcare is paid for. This is paid for. That is paid for. That's true. That is true. We should be doing that here too. We're the richest country in the world. But just because it's happening in other countries doesn't mean those people aren't working for a living. They
Right.
actually are. They're just getting to keep more of their money. Okay? But they are working. They're not just sitting at home and getting everything paid for themselves. They work for a living. I know. I have friends that live over in those countries. I have family that lives in those countries and they work for a living. So,
Good. Pretty good.
all right, gang, that's where we are this week. And
This is going to be a hard sell. It is. But when people start not being able to keep a roof over their head and eat,
you haven't
maybe
felt
they'll
the
start to
pain
get it.
yet, but you will.
Yeah,
Believe me.
it's going to happen.
And for some people, it already is. And the people in
Yep.
the rural communities, it's already happening.
Right.
All right,
All
gang.
right.
All right. Bye bye.